Hello, travelers. If you're searching for a destination that feels like the edge of the world, where nature still holds a pen to its own story, you've just found it. What if I told you there's a place where mountains rise straight out of the sea, where waterfalls tumble from cliffs that touch the clouds, and where sunlight lingers on the horizon long after midnight? This is Norway, a land carved by ice, shaped by time, and wrapped in mist. It's where nature still speaks in a voice both ancient and wild. Here, fjords slice deep into the earth like giant forgotten footprints. Let's leave the untouched wilderness behind and step into a coastal town where the mountains meet the sea, and time seems to walk a little slower. This is Bergen, Norway's second largest city, yet feels more like a whisper than a shout. Tucked between 7 green mountains and kissed by the North Sea, Bergen isn't just a city, it's an atmosphere. A blend of rain-washed streets, pastel-colored houses, and a scent of sea breeze rolling through narrow alleyways. Some call it the gateway to the fjords, but those who have wandered its cobbled lanes know Bergen is a destination all on its own. Cloud with rain, and yes, it rains here a lot. But in Bergen, the rain isn't a bother. It's a companion. It paints the rooftops with shimmer. It deepens the greens of the hillsides. It gives the harbor its silvery sheen. Bergen teaches you to slow down, to listen, to the gulls overhead, to the sound of footsteps on wet stone, to your own thoughts in the stillness of the mist. The heart of Bergen beats in Briggen, the Old Wharf, a UNESCO World Heritage Site where crooked wooden buildings lean against one another like old friends telling ancient tales. These colorful facades have stood for centuries, once home to Hanseatic merchants trading stockfish and spices. Today, they house artisan shops, cozy cafes, and galleries full of modern life set inside medieval walls. Wander deeper, and you'll find Floibenen, the famous funicular that lifts you from the center of the city to the top of Mount Floyen. In just minutes, you rise above the rooftops to a panoramic view that will still your breath. Fjord arms stretching into horizon, clouds brushing the peaks, and the city cradled below like a secret only the lucky get to discover. But Bergen isn't just scenic, it's soulful. It's in the melancholic chords of Grieg's music, echoing to the concert hall dedicated to his legacy, Edvard Grieg, Norway's most famous composer, born right here in Bergen. His former home, Troldhagen, now turned museum, still carries a resonance of his piano under the weight of Nordic skies. It's in the fresh fish sizzling at Fisketorget, the local fish market, where vendors serve you the taste of the ocean, king crab, grilled salmon, or a warm fish soup that chases the chill from your bones. And it's in the people, resilient, kind, and quietly proud of the city they call home. Bergeners are storytellers. Ask them about the rain, and you'll hear jokes. Ask them about the fjords, and you'll hear poetry. But behind the city's gentle pace and postcard beauty lies an energy, a pulse. Bergen is also a city of students, of artists, of thinkers. You'll find bold street art on ancient walls, jazz music in tucked-away basements, indie film festivals, and vibrant youth culture that flows like a hidden river beneath its historic charm. And when the day ends and the sun, if it visits, dips low into the sea, Bergen glows, not with neon, not with noise, but with golden lamplight reflecting off wet stones, laughter echoing from harbor cafes, and the soft hush of water lapping against wooden piers. Beyond Bergen's charming streets lies a wilderness that feels like a dream carved into stone and water, the Norwegian fjords, ancient and awe-inspiring, waiting just outside the city's harbor. Hop on a boat from Bergen, and within minutes, the city's colorful facades are replaced by towering cliffs. Leave behind Bergen's gentle coastal rhythm and journey deep into the Norwegian interior, into a world where earth, water, and sky converge in one of the most dramatic natural spectacles on the planet. This is Geirangerfjord, not just a fjord, but a symphony of stone and mist, a UNESCO World Heritage Site carved over millennia by glaciers, and now standing as one of Norway's most treasured wonders. As your ferry or kayak glides into the fjord, everything else falls away. Towering cliffs loom on either side, rising more than 1,500 meters above the emerald green water, their faces streaked with waterfalls, vegetation, and time. If the gods ever needed a stage to tell their stories, it would be here. And what stories these cliffs could tell. Waterfalls tumble from impossible heights, each with a name and legend. The most iconic? The Seven Sisters, 7 slender streams that plunge in parallel down the cliffside, dancing the wind as if caught mid-motion. Just across the water, another waterfall, the Suitor, pours out his longing heart, forever gazing across at the sisters he can never reach. Then there's Bridal Veil, a delicate cascade that mists into the fjord like gossamer lace, and the Friar, cloaked in shadow and solitude. Each waterfall, a character in this dramatic landscape, each echoing with myths passed down through generations. Above, the mountains seem to watch silently, massive, unmoving, yet alive in their stillness. Snow still clings to the higher ridges, even in summer, a stark contrast of green meadows and blooming wildflowers that soften the valley floor. At the end of the fjord lies the tiny village of Guy Ranger, a settlement so picturesque it feels imagined. Wooden houses painted in vivid colors to the hillside, and goats graze lazily on steep pastures that overlook the water. Life here moves slowly, in rhythm with the seasons, the tides, and the tourists who come to stand in awe. But beyond the postcards and picture-perfect views, Grange of Jord is an emotional experience. It's about the feeling of standing at Ornesvingen, the Eagle Bend, where 11 sharp hairpin turns bring you to one of the most breathtaking lookouts in Norway, or climbing to Dalsnibba, a viewpoint over 1,400 meters above sea level, where you can gaze down upon an entire fjord like a god surveying a forgotten world. And it's not just what you see, it's what you hear. The distant roar of a waterfall, the whisper of the wind in the grass, the creak of wood as a small boat pushes off into the still water. In Grange of Jord, sound becomes sacred. This is a place that doesn't just impress, it humbles. It reminds you of the earth's ancient strength and quiet wisdom. It asks nothing of you but attention, presence. And once you leave, Grange of Jord stays with you, not as a memory, but as a feeling, a stillness inside, a longing to return. While Grange of Jord may be the crown jewel, its surrounding region offers quieter gems that glimmer just as brightly. If only you know where to look. Travel just beyond the fjord, and you'll find Skagefla, one of Norway's most iconic abandoned mountain farms. Perched 250 meters above the fjord, it clings to the cliff like a stubborn memory. A steep trail winds its way up from the fjord's edge, challenging, rugged, and rewarding. And when you reach the top, the view, it stops time. You look down on Grange of Jord from a place once home to farmers who carved a life into the stone. It's not just about seeing the world, they lived it. These old farms, now silent, echo with stories of resilience. Sheep grazed on near vertical meadows. Children played beneath waterfalls. And every sunrise and storm was met face to face. Nearby, the road leads to Flytelsjuvet, a viewpoint that seems pulled from a dream. A dramatic rocky outcrop juts into the sky, offering one of the most iconic photographs of Norway. From here, the fjord appears almost too perfect, like a painting someone forgot to finish. But Guy Ranger isn't all sweeping grandeur. It's in the details too. It's the tiny wildflowers brushing your ankle as you hike, the cinnamon smell of lefts warming on a farmhouse stove, the way the golden light spills over the valley during late summer evenings, casting long shadows that stretch like stories across the land. The village itself may be small, but it bursts with warmth. You'll find cafes with hand-painted mugs, boats bobbing gently in the harbor, and locals who watch generations come and go. Some offer boat tours. Others sell cloudberry jam made from fruit picked higher than the goats dare climb. And still, the waterfalls fall. Constant, eternal. They remind you, time here is slower. Not because it lags, but because it lingers. Even the drive in and out of Guy Ranger is unforgettable. The Eagle Road, with its switchbacks that defy gravity. The Guy Ranger Trollstigen Scenic Route, one of Norway's national tourist roads, winding through fjords, over rivers, past thundering falls like Stigfossen. And then, perhaps most surprising of all, the silence. From the calm majesty of Grange of Jord, we now journey north, farther into the Arctic Circle, to a place where the rules of nature seem rewritten. This is Lofoten, a chain of jagged islands rising dramatically from the Norwegian Sea, like the spine of a sleeping dragon cloaked in mist and magic. In Lofoten, the landscape feels mythic. One moment, you're on a white sand beach that rivals any tropical paradise. The next, you're staring up at granite peaks that explode vertically from the ocean. This is not a postcard scene. It's an emotional experience. And here's the truth. Lofoten doesn't just impress the eye. It stirs the soul. Fishing cabins painted in deep red and mustard yellow, Rohrbuer, cling to the shore like memories. Some are centuries old, others reborn as cozy lodges for travelers. Wake up in one, and you'll hear nothing but the waves kissing the rocks and seabirds calling overhead. The towns here, Rein, Hamnøy, Henningsvær, Each feel like paintings come to life. Narrow streets curve around harbors, where codfish still hang to dry in the Arctic wind, just as they have for generations. The air smells of salt and wood smoke and something ancient, yet the real adventure lies beyond the villages. Hike the trail to Rienbringen, and you'll be rewarded with one of the most iconic views in Scandinavia. The steep climb is grueling, but once you reach the summit, the sight of fjords and inlets below, mirror still and impossibly blue, will take your breath away. Or drive the E10 highway, named one of the most scenic roads in the world. With each turn, a new scene unfolds. A sea eagle soaring over a crystal bay, a fishing boat carving white foam through midnight blue water, a reindeer watching quietly from the tundra. And then there's the light. Lofoten exists in a world of extreme contrast. In summer, the midnight sun casts golden light long past midnight, stretching shadows and turning every mountain into sculpture. You'll lose all sense of time. Day and night become suggestions, not rules. In winter, darkness returns, but not as an absence. Instead, the sky becomes a canvas for Aurora Borealis, the northern lights. Green ribbons dance across the heavens. Purple and pink hues shimmer like breath. It's a celestial performance you'll never forget. But Lofoten is not only about extremes. It's about peace. Take a kayak onto a still fjord. Sit in silence as seals play nearby and mountains reflect perfectly in water, so clear you see to the bottom. Or step into a local cafe, where sweaters hang beside steaming mugs, and someone strums a guitar in a corner, singing in Norwegian. Here, time stretches, your thoughts quiet. And nature isn't just scenery, it's a companion. Lofoten teaches you that stillness can be as thrilling as movement. For the wildlife lovers, Lofoten delivers too. See eagles, puffins, otters, orcas. The islands are alive with creatures adapted to the cold, the cliffs, and the sea. Every encounter feels intimate, even sacred. And for those chasing culture, Lofoten surprises again. Ancient Viking longhouses, art galleries carved into rock, festivals celebrating both the midnight sun and the polar night. This is not remote. It is rich. As you wander the beaches of Uttercleave, Hawkland, or Skagsanden, watch the light shift, the tide roll in, and the clouds curl around the mountains like a whisper. You'll begin to understand. Lofoten isn't just a destination. It's a dream made real. From the wind-swept wonder of Lofoten, we now journey south, back to the very heart of Norway, a place where fjords kiss the city skyline, where tradition meets trailblazing innovation, and where every street corner hums with the quiet rhythm of Nordic life. This is Oslo, Norway's capital, and a city unlike any other. Here, nature is not separate from urban life. It's woven into its soul. Oslo doesn't shout for your attention. It whispers. It draws you in slowly, like the hush of falling snow or the gentle ripple of a fjord in the morning light. But when it speaks in contrasts. You'll find world-class architecture beside medieval fortresses, cutting-edge art galleries hidden in old shipyards, and just minutes from the city center, forests, lakes, and ski trails that stretch into the horizon. Let's begin by the Oslofjord. This vast waterway curls around the city like a protective arm, shaping not just its landscape, but its character. Ferries glide past small green islands, each one a summer escape for locals. Kayakers dip paddles into clear water, and sunsets here, pure poetry. Then, rise into the city itself. At the Opera House, you can literally walk on the roof. This glass and marble marvel slopes upward like a glacier rising from the fjord, an open invitation to climb, sit, and watch the world go by. It's art you can touch, architecture you can live in. Stroll inland to Karl Johans Gate, Oslo's beating heart. Cafes spill onto cobblestone streets. Street musicians strum beneath gas lamps. Royal guards march silently at the palace. And just off the main drag, quiet parks wait like open pages, ready for a pause, a picnic, a breath. But Oslo's true magic lies in its ability to balance opposites. It's forward-looking, yet deeply rooted. Sleek and stylish, yet warm and welcoming. Visit Vigeland Park, home to over 200 granite and bronze sculptures, all carved by a single artist, Gustav Vigeland. These aren't your average monuments. They're raw, emotional, human. A silent conversation about love, loss, and connection played out in stone. Or step into the Munch Museum, where the brushstrokes of the screen still tremble with existential electricity. Oslo is a haven for artists, not just because it values beauty, but because it honors feeling. And speaking of feeling, head to Big Doy Peninsula, a quiet world of pine trees and pocket-sized beaches, home to museums that tell Norway's epic maritime stories. Here you'll find a Viking ship museum, where thousand-year-old ships rest in sacred stillness. They're still bearing the salt of adventure. In Oslo, the past is never buried. It's just gently folded into the present. Nature lovers? You're in luck. Just 20 minutes away by Metro lies Nordmarka, a sprawling wilderness of dense forest and mirror-still lakes. Hike, ski, camp, or simply disappear for a while. Because in Oslo, the edge of the wild is never far. And let's not forget the food. From Michelin star restaurants to buzzing food halls like Mathallen, Oslo is embracing its culinary renaissance. Arctic cod, cloudberries, cured meats, smoked salmon, everything here feels fresh, local, and full of soul. At night, the city softens. Lights glitter on the fjord. Locals gather at rooftop bars or lakeside saunas. There's no rush, no roar, just the rhythm of a city that breathes with the land around it. Oslo doesn't overwhelm you. It invites you to explore, to reflect, and to feel at home in a place both ancient and alive. So as you wander this northern capital, let unfold at its own pace. Look deeper, breathe slower. Whether you're standing at the harbor watching sailboats drift into the mist, or sipping coffee beneath a birch tree older than the city itself. Aker Brygge in Tjuvholmen, once a shipyard district, now a vibrant waterside promenade. Imagine strolling along wooden piers lined with cafes, art galleries, and designer shops. The smell of fresh pastries mingles with salty sea breeze, and sunlight dances off the glass facades of modern buildings. It's here that Oslo feels effortlessly cosmopolitan. Locals sip wine on floating bars. Kids splash in public fountains. Art lovers wander through the Astrup Fearnley Museum, where contemporary art meets maritime charm. From the harbor, hop on a ferry and explore the Oslo archipelago, a string of forested islands that feel like secret worlds. Hovdoya, Gressholmen, Lindoya. Now that we've wandered the quiet, soul-stirring rhythms of Oslo, we turn our compass southwest, toward the land where cliffs kiss the sky and fjords carve deep secrets into the earth. This is Preikestolen, also known as Pulpit Rock, a natural wonder that defies gravity, fear, and even imagination. Rising over 604 meters above Lysefjord, this giant slab of stone juts out like a sacred pulpit suspended between heaven and water. No fences, no rails, just raw rock, howling wind, and a vertical drop that can make even the boldest traveler catch their breath. But reaching this epic ledge is not just about the view, it's about the journey. Your adventure begins at the Preikestolen Mountain Lodge, nestled in the Rogaland region's forested folds. The air is crisp, the pine trees tall and watchful, and as you lace up your boots, the trail ahead feels more like a rite of passage than a hike. The path to Preikestolen stretches for kilometers, a moderately challenging trek that winds through rocky steps, mossy valleys, wooden boardwalks, and granite slopes shaped by ancient glaciers. Every step you take, the anticipation builds. You pass crystal-clear mountain lakes that mirror the sky, cross weather-worn boulders where centuries of wind have told their stories, and find yourself in silence so pure, even your breath feels loud. And then you arrive. You stand on the edge of the world. Preikestolen. Before you, the Lysefjord glistens like silver, snaking its way through cliffs that rise like ancient sentinels on either side. Behind you, mountain ridges stretch into haze. Below you, nothing but air and abyss. It's not just a view, it's an awakening. Some places you visit with your eyes, others you feel with your soul. Preikestolen is both. Some people sit and reflect. Others lie down and dangle their feet over the edge. And then there are those who close their eyes, take a deep breath, and simply listen to the wind rushing through fjords, to the distant echo of water, to their own heartbeat reminding them they're alive. Time doesn't move up here. It slows. And you start to realize nature doesn't just shape landscapes. It reshapes us. The geological history of this place is staggering. Carved during the Ice Age over 10,000 years ago, this cliff was once buried beneath kilometers of ice. As the glaciers retreated, they cracked the rock along vertical and horizontal fractures, eventually revealing this dramatic overhang. Nature didn't build it in haste. It sculpted it in patience. And it's that patience, that quiet power, that you feel in your chest as you sit on a rock's edge and look down at the fjord carved by time. But Preikestolen is more than just a postcard moment. It's a metaphor. It's the climb through fatigue. It's the arrival at vulnerability. It's the reward of standing somewhere that shouldn't exist, but does. And just as you begin your descent, looking back at that impossible ledge against a canvas of sky, you carry something with you. Something unspoken. A sense of gratitude. A shift in how you see the world, and maybe even yourself. Even the hike back feels different. Lighter. Quieter. As if the mountain gave you something and you're still learning what it is. Later, as you sit by the fire or sip something warm at a lodge nearby, the image returns of cliffs, of fjords, of the courage it takes to look over the edge and still trust the ground beneath you. Whether you come for the thrill, the photos, or the silence, Preikestolen leaves an imprint, one that stays long after your boots are clean and your camera full. And so, our journey through Norway continues, not just across landscapes, but through layers of emotion and wonder. Next, we follow the winding trails east to Jotunheimen National Park, home of giants and glaciers, where legends are written in stone and skies open wider than you've ever known. Because in Norway, the deeper you go, the more you discover not just about the land, but about yourself. As the golden sun dips low over the fjord, casting long shadows across the cliff's rugged face, Preikestolen becomes something almost mythical. The air cools, the wind slows, the granite beneath your feet holds the warmth of the day, like a memory lingering in stone. But for those who stay a little longer, perhaps catching the sunset or even camping nearby, there's another side to this wonder. And now, from the stone ledges of Preikestolen, where the earth meets sky in quiet drama, we journey farther, much farther, past the rolling fjords, beyond the last roads, over the Arctic Circle, to the edge of the inhabited world. Welcome to Svalbard, a land where the maps thin, the silence thickens, and nature is no longer scenic. It's sovereign, nestled halfway between mainland Norway and the North Pole. Svalbard is not just remote, it feels otherworldly. This Arctic archipelago of glaciers, jagged mountain, and polar light is one of the last great frontiers of untouched wilderness in Europe. You don't come to Svalbard for comfort. You come for awe. And what you find here changes you. This is not a place you visit. This is a place you survive, you feel, you remember. Here, ice rules. More than 60% of the landmass is covered in glaciers, vast, ancient rivers of frozen time, slowly grinding their way to the sea. Mountains rise sharply from fjords like the spines of sleeping beasts. Valleys are silent, painted in whites and grays, with the occasional flash of wild moss or reindeer for breaking the monotony. And the light, oh, the light. Depending on when you come, you may never see the sunset, or you may not see it rise at all. In summer, the midnight sun hovers endlessly above the horizon, casting golden shadows that seem to stretch forever. In winter, the polar night descends like a velvet curtain, plunging the land in complete darkness for months, except for the magical shimmer of the aurora borealis, dancing green and violet above snow-blanketed silence. But this isn't a frozen wasteland. Svalbard pulses with life, resilient, wild, and deeply adapted. This is polar bear territory. In fact, there are more polar bears than people here. You might never see one, but you'll always feel their presence, etched in warning signs, tracked through paw prints, whispered in the wind. Arctic foxes dart between icy rocks. Svalbard reindeer graze along glacier edges, compact and hardy. Seals rest on floating ice. Walruses lumber along the shores, tusks glinting in the pale sun. And in the waters, whales breach, humpbacks, belugas, even blue whales on rare occasions. Bird cliffs erupt in life during summer, with thousands of guillemots and puffins filling the air with motion and sound. Life doesn't just cling to Svalbard, it thrives defiantly. Then there's Longyearbyen, the northernmost town on Earth, home to around 2,000 people and a culture as unique as the land itself. Imagine grocery shopping while carrying a rifle for polar bear protection, or going to a university that teaches Arctic survival. Imagine roads that disappear in winter, people who don't lock their doors, and sunsets that last hours. It's not just surreal, it's real. And hidden beneath the permafrost is something even more extraordinary. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault. This futuristic facility, carved deep into a mountain, holds the world's most important agricultural seeds, a backup plan for humanity in case of global disaster. It's a powerful reminder that Svalbard isn't just remote, it's essential. But Svalbard is fragile, too. Climate change is rewriting this landscape. Glaciers are melting faster. Permafrost is thawing. Species are shifting. The Arctic is warming more than twice as fast as the global average. And Svalbard stands at the front line of that transformation. It's humbling to witness. And haunting. Because in Svalbard, you don't just see the Earth, you see its future. Or perhaps its warning. Yet in the midst of this vast, icy wilderness, there's something deeply human. A campfire crackling under a glacier. A husky howl echoing across the fjord. The warmth of a shared meal after a day on a snowmobile across white silence. Or the quiet moment when you realize you're not a visitor here. You are a guest. Svalbard doesn't ask to be conquered. It asks to be respected, to be listened to, because in this Arctic cathedral of ice and sky, the silence speaks louder than words. As we leave this land of light and shadow behind, we carry more than photos. We carry a truth, that the wildest places still hold the deepest wisdom, and that maybe in a world of speed and noise, places like Svalbard are what keep us grounded. Next, we move south again, but not into cities or crowds. We head into the heart of Norway's national soul, Jotunheimen, the land of the giants, where myth and mountain blur, where Norse gods once walked, and where perhaps they still do. And if you stay long enough in Svalbard, something shifts. It's not just a light that changes. It's you. You begin to walk slower. Breathe deeper. Your eyes adjust to the subtle tones of snow and rock. You find beauty not in grand monuments, but in the way a single snowflake lands on your glove, or in the crunch of footsteps across untouched powder. In a world so full of noise, Svalbard is the quiet that heals. This place teaches you patience, perspective. It shows you that not all landscapes shout. Some whisper, softly, steadily. And if you listen long enough, they reveal truths you never knew you needed to hear. There's a kind of magic here. You don't notice all at once. It creeps in. Then one day, you realize you've fallen for a place that barely says a word. And yet, even in its silence, Svalbard pulses with story. The coal mines that once fueled this frozen outpost now lie still, remnants of another time. The old rail lines rust under snow. The workers' barracks, wind-worn and empty, stand like ghost towns against a white horizon. But new stories bloom too. Scientists from around the globe gather here to study glaciers, stars, and time itself. Artists come to paint the palette of the North. Travelers arrive not to escape life, but to find it, unfiltered, unforgiving, and unforgettable. Here, the northernmost post office still stamps letters. The northernmost pub pours dark stouts to warm your soul. The northernmost church holds quiet vigils under constellations that feel close enough to touch. From the frozen vastness of Svalbard, we now journey south, where ice gives way to emerald waters and silence becomes a song whispered between ancient cliffs. Welcome to Norway, a place so breathtaking. It feels as if nature paused here for a moment and never left. This isn't just a fjord. It's a living cathedral, carved not by hands, but by glaciers and time. Tucked deep in the heart of western Norway, Norway is a branch of the larger Sognefjord and is widely hailed as one of the most stunning fjords in the world. So stunning, in fact, that it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But this isn't beauty that begs for your attention. This is beauty that commands it. The fjord stretches only 17 kilometers, but every turn of the water feels cinematic. Steep mountains rise like ancient sentinels, nearly 1,000 meters tall, plunging straight into the narrow channel below. Waterfalls tumble like silver ribbons, some so delicate they vanish before they touch the fjord's mirrored surface. And on a quiet day, that surface reflects a mountain so perfectly, it's hard to tell where earth ends and sky begins. The air is crisp, the silence profound. The village of Gudvangen at the end of the fjord sits like a watercolor, timeless, serene, almost mythical. You half expect a Viking ship to come gliding through the mist. Everything here feels untouched, sacred. Each bend in the fjord reveals another wonder. A goat grazing on an impossibly steep slope, a lone cabin nestled in the folds of green, a streak of snow still clinging to a shadowed ridge. It's no wonder this place inspired ancient legends, and still inspires travelers today. You don't just see Norway, you feel it, whether you're kayaking through its tranquil waters, hiking the surrounding ridges, or cruising on a silent electric ferry. Every moment is a meditation. Here, the mountains don't shout. They whisper truths you forgot you knew. And if you're lucky, a soft fog rolls in, not to hide the landscape, but to veil it in mystery. In those moments, Norway becomes a place suspended in time, a bridge between myth and memory. As your boat glides silently through the glass-like water, you notice something magical. The way light dances along the fjord walls, catching every crevice, every drop of water cascading from the cliffs above. Morning mist lifts like a curtain, revealing sheer vertical rock faces and hanging valleys that seem to float above reality. It feels less like traveling through a place and more like slipping into a dream. You're not just a visitor here. You're a witness to something ancient, something enduring. It's hard to imagine that this serene place was carved in chaos, sculpted by glaciers thousands of years ago that ground down mountains and gouged deep into the earth. What they left behind wasn't destruction, but creation. A fjord so narrow and dramatic, it looks as though the planet folded in on itself. And amid this raw grandeur, there are still whispers of life. You might pass by Steigen Farm, perched precariously high above the fjord. Once reachable only by rope ladder, this remote outpost was built by people who understood that solitude could also be sanctuary. Today, it serves as a symbol of how humans and nature can coexist, not through dominance, but through deep respect. Further along, the Sturtel Farm offers a taste of tradition, literally. You can sip goat cheese fresh from the source, breathe in the scent of wildflowers, and hear stories passed down through generations. The people here live slowly, deliberately, in rhythm with the land and water. Their connection to this place isn't just cultural, it's spiritual. Every summer, sunlight floods a fjord for long, golden hours. But in winter, darkness creeps in. And yet, even then, Norway holds its charm. The water may freeze at the edges, snow may dust the village rooftops, but the silence deepens into something sacred. There's beauty in the stillness, power in the quiet. The soundtrack of Norway isn't made by engines or crowds. It's the gentle lap of water, the distant rustle of leaves, and the occasional cry of an eagle overhead. And as you watch the cliffs blur past your window, a thought lingers. Is it possible that in the most remote corners of the world, we find the clearest reflection of ourselves? Because Norway doesn't just showcase Norway's natural beauty. It invites you to reconnect with nature, with stillness, with wonder. So let your journey here be more than just sightseeing. Let it be a return to a part of you that still believes in magic, in silence, in places that don't need a change to matter. Up next, we leave the waters behind and ascend into Norway's mythic highlands, where legends roam and peaks pierce the sky. Jotunheimen awaits, a realm of giants and gods, where nature isn't merely seen, it's revered. As the boat gently turns a bend in the fjord, you realize there are no straight lines in nature here. Only graceful arcs, jagged peaks, and reflections that make the sky seem twice as vast. The mountains lean in close, as if whispering secrets only the water can understand. You are surrounded, yet strangely free. Some moments in Norway feel suspended in time. A tiny wooden boathouse, weathered and still standing after generations of storms. A single hiker tracing a narrow trail high above the water. The faint clang of a sheep bell echoing from across the valley. These are not tourist attractions. They are fragments of real life, quiet and persistent. And perhaps that's what makes this place so unforgettable. It doesn't try to impress you. It just is. And that, in its own humble way, is breathtaking. Every element here plays a part in a grand natural symphony. The water, impossibly deep and mysteriously dark, cradles your journey like silk. The cliffs, rising as high as 1,700 meters, frame your view like ancient guardians. The sky, often shifting from sun to mist or rain in a single hour, drapes the entire scene in ever-changing color. You begin to understand why Norway was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site, not just for its geology, but for the way it invites introspection. This isn't just nature, it's narrative, a place that tells its story without saying a word. And when you dock near Gudvangen, you step onto land that once welcomed Vikings. The village sits like a punctuation mark at the end of the fjord, quiet but proud, home to traditions that reach back over 1,000 years. You can feel it in the way people walk here, not hurried, not distracted, grounded. You might even visit the reconstructed Viking village, where longboats rest by the shore and firelight dances on wooden shields. It's not reenactment,